I've been interested in money and investing from as young as I can remember. My first mutual fund was opened when I was about 7 years old with the help of my dad, and for the best part of 20 years, money has been a huge part of my life. I love making it, investing it, managing it, and in this video I'm going to go through the 7 most important things, 7 really simple money habits that I have implemented into my life over the last decade or so that have significantly helped me grow my wealth. And most of them are incredibly simple that anyone can do, but it's always surprising, at least to me, how few of those habits are actually practiced by the average person, despite them being able to completely transform your financial situation. Pay yourself first. You can only really build wealth if you learn to pay yourself first. So that means you save some of your income as soon as you receive it. Because what a lot of people do is they pay everyone else first at the beginning of the month, just after they get paid. So they'll pay their rent to their landlord, they'll pay the local supermarket for their groceries, and then by the end of the month, they don't have enough money left to pay themselves. And how much you pay yourself can vary greatly depending on your situation. It can be anywhere from 5% of your total income all the way up to 50% of your overall income. But for most people, it's around 5 to 20% mark. And this money should go towards savings and investments and long-term needs. So it could be going towards your emergency fund, your pension, maybe you're saving for a mortgage on a house, or maybe you're paying off a loan. When you pay yourself first, you are prioritizing your long-term financial well-being over short-term needs and wants. And for me personally, I pay myself first around 15 to 20% of my income. And because I work for myself, I don't have a corporate pension. Most of this money goes towards investments for retirement and also in the future if I want to buy a house. Focus on owning, not buying. I remember reading about this years ago, but I can't think for the life of me where I read it or who wrote it, but nonetheless it's a really important message that is something that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. This idea that we should be focusing on owning, not just buying. So for example, a lot of us have an Apple iPhone, but how many of us actually own Apple stock? Because buying shares in Apple, we go from being a consumer to being an owner. And the same goes for producing and creating rather than just consuming and watching. So if you find yourself binge watching Game of Thrones videos on YouTube, why not start your own movie review YouTube channel reviewing Game of Thrones episodes? It's exactly this mindset that encouraged me to make this channel and my other channel, Project Elon. I watched productivity videos for years, I watched motivational videos for years, I watched personal finance videos for years. So instead of just watching them, I put what I learned over the years of learning and started my own YouTube channel so that I could teach and help others. Because the majority of people are consumers. They binge watch YouTube, they're caught up in consumerism, they binge on food, on social media. But it's only a small group of people that actually focus on producing and creating rather than just consuming. Not many people are able to make that transition from buyer to owner or from consumer to creator. But it's an incredibly powerful transition that can completely transform your financial situation. Track your finances. Author and management consultant Peter Drucker once said, "You can't manage what you can't measure," meaning it's impossible to tell if you are successful unless success is defined and tracked. So if you can't measure what you're earning and you can't measure what you're spending your money on, then you can't possibly tell if you're effectively managing your money. I've recorded my income and expenses for as long as I remember, at least the last 7 or 8 years, and I still do to this day. This is how I tracked my income and expenses back 8 years ago, back in 2013, before I studied at university, and it's all in pounds. And as you can see, my income wasn't a lot. I was averaging probably about £450 a month, which is about $630 US. And although now my income is a lot higher and my expenses are also a lot higher, how I lay my budgeting spreadsheet out hasn't changed that much at all. Because it's a good way of keeping track of what I'm spending, but also what I'm earning. So I know exactly where my money has gone and what percent of my income I've paid myself and what percent of my income I've spent in other areas. And I have to track revenue and expenses for the business anyway, so it's now just habit to keep track of my personal expenses too. Always be learning. There are two forms of education: formal education, such as going to school or university, and informal education, where you read and you're watching educational videos and you're watching documentaries because you're genuinely interested in them. And I feel this is often what separates people that maybe invest their money more wisely and make better financial decisions to those that don't. And it's this informal education that I'm really passionate about. Even after graduating from university, I was still spending hours every day learning, whether I was reading or listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos or watching documentaries on Netflix, whether it was about health and fitness or business or investing or personal finance, whatever it was, I was always and am still always learning. And it's also a reason why I created this YouTube channel, because by making these videos, it's just another way of learning. It's also known as the Feynman technique, and it's an incredibly effective way of learning by relaying information to other people in very simple and easy to understand terminology. And this learning mindset has a direct correlational effect on finances. The more I learn, especially about business and money management and investing, the better financial decisions I can make and the more money I can earn. Be wary of consumerism. About 8 years ago, I spent about 2 years altogether traveling around Southeast Asia, living only from a 40-litre backpack. And I realized that I don't need a lot of stuff to be happy. In fact, maybe paradoxically, owning fewer things made me happier. And it took me quite a while to learn this. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I realized this. Because I think with society on a whole, we're kind of trapped in this idea of consumerism where we're pressured into buying into the latest trends. And I think it's so important to at least think about the things that you're buying and think if they do actually make you genuinely happy, or whether you're just buying to scratch an itch. So the last 8 years or so, I've been living a far more minimalist lifestyle. I make a conscious effort to live more intentionally and only buy things that are genuinely meaningful and that fulfill a need in my life. There are still some luxuries that I enjoy as a reward for certain things, like achieving certain goals and milestones. So for example, I recently bought the AirPods Pro as a kind of early birthday present. I certainly didn't need them. It was definitely a luxury purchase, but every now and again I think a luxury purchase is absolutely fine, because for the most part the things that I buy are limited to the items that genuinely make me happy. And there are two bonuses to that. Firstly, I have more money. I'm not spending money on things I just don't really want or need. And secondly, my apartment and office aren't full of junk. And as you can see behind me, my office is relatively empty. Other than my computer stuff and my cameras and lighting, I don't have a lot of things in my office, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Have multiple income streams. Now, this is equally about diversifying your risk as it is about increasing your income, and it's something that over the last year I've been spending a lot of time thinking about, and I've been working on increasing the number of income streams that I personally have. Because in my opinion, and I feel really strongly about this, in my opinion, no one should be relying on just one stream of income. But it seems to be pretty much universally accepted, especially for those that maybe have a 9-to-5 job and that therefore rely on their salary as their only form of income. And in my opinion at least, there's no such thing as a permanent job. The economy is relatively unpredictable, and people are laid off or fired or have to leave for whatever reason every day. So having a second income stream to fall back on can be a lifesaver. And there are multiple ways that you can increase the number of income streams you have. So for example, making YouTube videos like this one, starting a blog, investing in the stock market, becoming a freelance video editor or writer, or web designer, starting a business, creating an online course. There's so many ways that you can use your strengths to your advantage and create a second, third, or even a fourth income stream. Network. Networking is so incredibly powerful, and honestly this year I realized that I've not been doing it anywhere near enough in 2021 as I should be. My favorite quote is, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," and I mention that quote quite a lot on this channel and my other channel, so I'm really working on practicing what I preach. And so the last few months I've been networking a lot more, just hanging out, socializing, meeting new people, and that alone over the last, say, 6 months has directly increased my income. Because when I talk to people, at least for me, I bounce ideas off them and they bounce ideas off me, and it stimulates new ideas. And so networking single-handedly has transformed my business and significantly increased the revenue my businesses have been generating this year. And it's interesting because a lot of people know how to invest in money, but I feel far fewer people know how to invest in relationships. And there was an article written back in 2013 by Porter Gale, author of the book Your Network is Your Net Worth. And she wrote, "Your ability to build a network, not your financial capital, is the most important asset in your portfolio. I believe that seeking out and working in collaboration with others who share your interests and values will provide a stronger foundation, enabling you to reach a higher level of success than you would on your own." And I've certainly seen that for myself. There's a positive correlation where the more time I spend networking, where I can help other people and maybe they can help me out a bit, and how much revenue my business generates and therefore how much income I'm making. So those are 7 simple money habits that changed my life. And if you have any money habits that have changed your life, then let me know in the comments. I always love to hear from you guys, and I try to reply to as many of you as I can, and I'll see you in the next video.